guys, this is your warning. We do post up spoilers. At times we're relatively offensive. We use vulgar language. So if you think that any of those are gonna offend you in any way, shape, or form, take your step back right now. Because, buddy, this is not the place for you. Anywho, have fun listening to us. And yeah, this has been your final warning.
Welcome to another episode of Cinematic Anarchy, and this is going to be the second podcast in what is a very, very, very late Mother's Day themed, well, bad Mother's Day themed set of podcasts.
It's still May.
It's still May. It's still May.
Yeah.
Well, we just did, a couple days ago, we did Throw Mama from the Train, and it's not going to really seem right when I actually release this. And say a couple of days ago we did this other podcast, but it was like almost back to back the recordings. This is just going to get released a few days later. So, yeah, hi. Today with me, we're going to. I'm not even going to edit that out. That I tripped on my tongue. I'm just going to leave that there. This sort of pseudo drunken Porky Pig thing that I just there. Yeah, just a little bit of Porky Pig there. Dip. With me today, we have Rachel and Matt from the Strange and Beautiful Book Club podcast, a frequent guest now.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
It's always fun. This is always fun. Hello. And today, we're going to be discussing John Waters' interesting flick.
Interesting.
This was wild.
Yeah.
It was
a roller coaster.
Better than Garbage Pail Kids.
It's been a while since I actually last watched this film, and so watching it for the podcast again, there's a lot that I didn't remember. Like, I'm more, I guess, familiar with Sam Waterston now. You know, after years and years of seeing him in different things, mostly Law and Order and Grace and Frankie and Grace. I don't know, like
Frankie and Grace.
Frankie and Grace. The Netflix series. So,
yeah.
Seeing this side of him was interesting, to say the very least.
Like young Sam Waterston.
Young and the mock sex scene, basically, is what I was referring to. Just
we laughed so hard. The jumping up and down. That was so ridiculous. It was a ridiculous moment in an otherwise ridiculous movie. So it fit.
It fit with anything that John Waters has ever done, really. I've seen a lot of John Waters flicks. Everything from Pink Flamingos to, what is it, A Dirty Shame? Is that what it's called?
I'm unfamiliar.
Selma Blair, Johnny Knoxville, and I'm trying to remember her name. Jeez, why can't I remember her name? This is a British sketch comedy actress who's actually, her show, Tracy Ullman. The Americanized version of the Tracy Ullman Show is actually the first show to bring us The Simpsons.
Oh.
The Simpsons shorts were actually part of the Tracy Ullman Show.
I remember that, yes.
So if we did not have Tracy Ullman, and I don't think John Waters brought us her. I think she just sort of ended up in a John Waters film after her show went kaput.
I'm looking up his filmography.
There's quite a few there. One of my favorites, Cecil B. Demented, is a great film. Stephen Dorff and Melanie Griffith.
He's only directed 19 things. Yeah, Cecil B. Demented, Pecker.
Pecker's good.
Crybaby. Oh my God, he did Crybaby.
Crybaby, yes. Well, you can
that
see
also
that
has Ricky Lake.
Just watch this film. You can see it's got the same kind of feel to it as Crybaby.
Now that a
lot less
now
music.
That I'm looking, I'm like, oh yeah, and it's got Ricky Lake again.
This is starting to get a little skinnier, Ricky Lake.
Yeah. It's the same character, Ricky Lake, though, where she's kind of boy obsessed.
I want to say this was shortly before she started doing, well, not that short, but she started doing, daytime talk shows? Mm-hmm. She had her own show.
The Ricky Lake Show.
Yes.
Now she's, super, holistic.
Yeah, the last thing that I saw Ricky Lake in was a documentary for, natural home birth.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
For herself.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch that. Thank you. I now know it exists, and I don't want to watch it.
I think we watched it when I was pregnant, and I was like, Ricky Lake, all right, let's watch this. And
it was somewhat informational.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's not where I thought I'd see Ricky Lake ending up, but it's okay. Here we are.
Well, Ricky Lake and I think Tracy Lords were two favorites of his for different things. Like, because Ricky Lake had been in several different things that he was in, including the original Hairspray movie.
Yes.
So that was...
yeah, I saw he had directed that.
It's the not John Travolta version. Sorry. Cross-dressing John Travolta will forever be burned into my psyche.
That was an entertaining movie.
Yeah.
I didn't mind.
I liked Michelle Pfeiffer.
Just the budding romance between John Travolta and Christopher Walken.
I mean, who else? Who else do you cast as John Travolta's love interest? Honestly.
I mean, yeah, Christopher Walken. That's just it's gotta be him. But he also plays like a good 1950s dad. He's done it several times.
He does. Yeah, he did it in Catch Me If You Can, too.
Blast from the Past.
And Blast from the Past.
That was a really good one.
Maybe because he was playing himself.
That just may be who he is.
Yeah. He was better as a 1950s dad than he was as the Emperor of the Known Universe in Dune 2. So.
Wait, what?
He's the Emperor in Dune 2.
I have not seen Dune 2 yet. That would have been a
Chalamet.
hell of a surprise. That would have been a hell of a surprise. Oh.
I mean, he's in the marketing material, so I didn't spoil it too bad, but...
Well, you actually think that I pay attention to the marketing material. I just know that it came out.
I just don't know who was like, Padishah, Emperor, Shaddam IV. I'm thinking Christopher Walken. And they were like, yeah, go for it.
I am very good at going into most movies that I watch about 95% blind as to what I'm watching. Like, I know movies exist, and sometimes I hear little bits and pieces, or just the poster or whatever catches my eye. I didn't see him on the poster for Dune 2.
Okay. He's in at least one of them.
Yeah, I don't think he's on the... I haven't seen a poster
He's
with
not
him
on the
it.
composite one, but he's on some of the individual ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's definitely...
He really tones down his stereotypical style of talking, and so he tries to sound a little less like Christopher Walken. That voice. And so it's not like a detrimental effect on the movie.
Yeah.
Because everything he does is Christopher Walken.
It's just at this point you're just casting Christopher Walken as Christopher Walken. Like, we all know that. It's fine. But yeah. I guess this movie was supposed to be a commentary on America's obsession with true crime. Which I think is really funny.
As much of an obsession back then, though.
Well, I mean, you think about it, they're like, oh, the obsession with true crime. And like now with podcasting, where true crime podcasts are one of the biggest growing sectors of podcasts. Like, wow, we learned nothing from this movie.
Well, we learned that how to get away with murder, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, just be really, really pretentious white lady. And you're good to go.
Really blatant about it, too. Like,
yeah.
Running down the street with a carving knife blatant.
Right. She kills the one lady with a rack of lamb.
Kills the lady with a rack of lamb to the tune of Tomorrow from Annie.
Annie, yeah, Tomorrow from Annie.
I think it would have been funnier if it was Hard Knock Life, but whatever.
Yeah. Hard Knock Life.
That's a good point.
I like how Matthew Lillard and his girlfriend are obsessed with horror movies.
Right. You know, the people that actually owned the licensing to the song Tomorrow from Annie, when they realized what they were going to do with their song, they jacked up the licensing fee to $60,000, which is a lot for and he didn't care. He's like, I don't care. This is my vision. I will pay whatever.
Yeah.
He goes, I would have gone so much higher.
for that visual of killing a woman to Annie.
Like Ryan Reynolds with the Golden Girls stuff in Deadpool. He's like, whatever money you want. I want B. Arthur on my shirt.
Don't care. It has to be here.
Yeah. This was good. I mean, I really enjoyed this movie, actually. I don't know if I didn't enjoy it just in contrast to Garbage Pail Kids. I think I would have enjoyed it even if I had not known how bad movies could get.
Oh, the fact
this was an entertaining movie regardless.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. Surprisingly, I didn't know what to expect. So movies that I end up watching for these kinds of conversations, I go in completely blind because Rachel will be like, oh, we're recording with Chris in like 2 days, so we need to watch this movie that I've never heard of before. And so we watch it. And I have no context.
We're just going to watch this potential piece of garbage. And in the case of Garbage Pail Kids, I will give you, that was garbage.
Actual garbage.
Actual garbage.
Literal garbage. Literally and figuratively.
Anything.
Kathleen Turner does an amazing job in this, by the way. Like,
you know why she got the job, right?
Why?
She was the one person that approached him. There were several other people that he was actually considering for the role, but every other one of them were trying to either get him to rewrite it or bring down the maliciousness of the character to suit their needs. And Kathleen Turner just read the script, said, "I love it, I want to be part of it." Didn't ask him to change a thing, and he was like, "You're hired."
Wow.
Right, because he needed someone who would lean into it.
Yeah, and she leans.
Oh, she leans.
Hard.
Justin Whalen, the guy who plays Scotty, his
the
sex
pervy
obsessed-
Jimmy Olsen?
Yeah, is Jimmy Olsen in Lois and Clark, like The Adventures of Lois and Clark from the
Right.
90s.
Oh, I forgot about that show.
And the whole time I was watching it, I was like, I know him. And Matt looked it up. He was like, oh my God, he was Jimmy Olsen. And I was like, no, it's so ruined.
And this comes out like 2 years before Lois and Clark starts.
Yeah, it's not long
And so
after this.
I can't imagine watching this and then going on to see him as Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, just the masturbation scene, and then this Jimmy Olsen. It's like, oh no, I remember you in that John Waters flick. I don't believe
to what
you
is
as Jimmy
apparently
Olsen,
a
sorry.
real porn movie. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
What's her name? Chesty?
Chesty something or other. Yeah. Oh God, I have no idea. I looked this up earlier. There's a whole thing. It was supposed to be the movie that he was watching was supposed to be called Lethal Weapons. Chesty something.
Well, those could definitely be lethal.
Like Chesty Canyons or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It's not like I committed that to memory. It just sort of infested. Okay, that's an interesting name. I remember the name of the movie now, though.
Your brain does try to skitter over that and just be like, don't know you're watching this. It's really uncomfortable right now.
Jimmy Olsen masturbating. It's just something I didn't need the visual for.
Whew, I know. At least he's got the blanket. Thank God.
It was a lot less animated than John Waterston was.
Yeah. In the weird sex scene. He's like, as long as we're quiet, and he like touches her and she starts moaning. And then they're like bouncing up and down while the kids are coming out of the bedroom.
Kids are just like, oh my God, Ma, no. I will thank John Waterston. I was going to say John Waterston. Sam Waterston, John Waters. I do that a lot. I will thank John Waters for bringing us Matthew Lillard. This is the first film that Matthew Lillard ever did. So, thank you, John Waters, for that.
Yeah.
A gift to humanity.
Indeed.
I do love me some Matthew Lillard. I really do.
we went off on about Matthew Lillard on our Wing Commander episode.
Because he's in Wing Commander.
Yeah, I know.
With Freddie Prinze, which I guess they're like best friends.
The only salvageable part was Matthew Lillard.
Oh, yeah, that was a good episode.
Just the buddy energy
Yeah.
between Freddie Prinze Jr. and Matthew Lillard.
What a dumb movie that is.
Let's just focus on Matthew. You know, that'll get you through the film. There's a few films like that where Matthew Lillard is kind of there, and you're like,
He has the most emotional range out of anybody in that movie.
Yeah.
out of most people.
Yeah.
He's just got a lot of really expressive features, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was probably the most expressive and emotional person in all of Hackers.
That's true. He is good in that movie. He is good in that movie. Angelina
forgot he was in
Jolie.
Hackers.
Yeah.
SLC Punk
Yep.
is a good one for him, too. There's a lot of really good films that he is just like... He may have a bit character, like 13 Ghosts. We didn't have a lot to do. He was kind of propelled the plot along a little bit, but he kind of took a backseat to several of the characters there. But he was still kind of a shining light in the film. I'm going to stop fawning over Matthew Lillard now. I really am.
No need. It's fine. He has a cameo in a really good, funny vampire movie called Bloodsucking Bastards with Pedro Pascal.
Pedro, you sold me on Pedro Pascal. Yes.
It's like this corporate
Bastards.
office where they sell something. I don't think we find out what they sell.
Oh, wait a minute. I think
and they all start getting turned into vampires, and no one notices because they never go outside anyway, so who cares?
I think I actually know this film.
And he has a cameo right at the end.
I'm going to have to go look it up because I think I know the film that you're talking about. But
it's a good movie. It's good.
It's like one of those things that just kind of lingers in the back of your head. It's like, I know this film. I really feel like I've seen this film, but it's not in the forefront of my brain right now, so...
There's two really similar ones.
The protagonist is the other live-action Shaggy.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait a minute. Who is the other live-action Shaggy?
Do you remember his name?
I don't remember the actor's name.
No. Look it up.
We just know that he's the other live-action Shaggy. We just don't know.
We're like, I don't know. Scooby-Doo.
Who in the fuck he is?
My son loves Scooby-Doo, so... the main guy is Fran Krantz.
Fran Krantz? Like F-R-A-N? Krantz.
Yes. He was in The Cabin in the Woods. He was the stoner guy in The Cabin in the Woods.
Yes. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
I know this gentleman. Probably a little too well. I'm just trying to think. Okay, that's the guy. You Might Be the Killer. That's a good film. It's interesting.
Yeah, he was good in that. There's two very similar ones. There's Bloodsucking Bastards and Nether Beast Incorporated, and they're both like vampires in corporate America, and they came out about the same time, but you want Bloodsucking Bastards.
I haven't watched Bloodsucking Bastards. That's the other one. The other one is the one that I watched.
Yeah, Nether Beast Incorporated.
The one that somehow has like Steve from Blue's Clues in it.
Yes. Yes. That one.
I actually had to point him out the other day. He does a bit cameo in Young Sheldon.
Oh.
He is the comic book store owner in Young Sheldon that Sheldon constantly talks to. So, it's like I had to point him out because I didn't realize it until like one of the closing episodes where he's getting ready to move off to Caltech, and it's like, I know who the fuck that is. That is Steve from Blue's Clues. I only know that because I've watched him for way too many years with my kids because they all loved Blue.
Yeah.
They loved him. So, they hated, they didn't like Joe.
No, there's a new guy now, isn't there?
Is there? Are they still doing Blue's Clues?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Why?
Yes. It's like
kids love it.
SpongeBob's still on.
Well, I guess it must not cost a lot to make.
Yeah.
It's very low-key on the
don't know.
animation. Like, old school, almost old South Park style, you know?
Yeah. Just the real simple side-scrollers type animation. Yeah.
Just to tell you how much my kids watched Blue's Clues, for no reason, at random points of the day, I will just be walking along and out of my mouth, out of nowhere, just...
It's a reflex.
There's one we watched with my niece. It was Wonder Pets. And they had the phone. The phone is ringing. And so every time the phone rings, I'm like, the phone is ringing.
Oh, I can remember the little duck.
Yes.
Little
a duck
duckling.
and a turtle and like a hamster
The hamster,
guy.
yes. The duck, the turtle, the hamster, and there was one other thing, wasn't there? What am I thinking?
I think those were the 3 Wonder Pets.
Those are like
because they were like class pets.
My first job out of school was at this startup. And me and the owner were the only ones with kids. And then it was like 4 other college-age guys. And so me and the owner would like riff back and forth across this like warehouse, like manufacturing space. Like, the phone, and then the other one would say, the phone is ringing. There's an animal in trouble somewhere. And everybody else in the building was like, what is happening?
Yeah. The ones my kids like, the Yo Gabba Gabba, they liked that one a lot, which I was thankful for.
You're not supposed to smoke that munch on your lunch break. Oh. So, with no segue whatsoever, let's just kind of back into the movie here.
Oh, that's
All right, fine, whatever.
Serial
Matthew
Mom.
Lillard got us here.
Look, I don't do segues. It's just we get into a nice little riff, and then I will, for no reason, just drag everybody back into the movie. All right, get back to it.
So I think the most surprising point in this movie for me was after everybody realizes that she's actually killing people. And then she just goes off. She runs, I think, from the church. She escapes from the church.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, how much time is left in the movie? And we were only halfway through the movie. I was like, what are they going to do for half of the movie?
The best part with the courtroom scene.
If we just now, like, she just got found out. Okay. She's going to go on some rampage or something. And she does.
My favorite part, like the most memorable part for me, was the point at the end when I realized that one juror was fucking Patty Hearst, of all people.
I don't know who that is.
You don't...
I don't recognize the name.
The podcast.
You're going to make me Google.
Click.
And so that was our podcast for the day, people. Thank you very much for showing us.
Unfortunately, Rachel and Matt will never be back.
Right. Patty Hearst.
She was one of the actresses in it, wasn't she?
Yes, she was one of the actresses in it. She was actually kidnapped from her Berkeley apartment by an urban guerrilla left-wing group. The Symbionese Liberation Army claimed responsibility for the abduction. Hearst's kidnapping was partly opportunistic, and she ended up residing... as she resided near the SLA hideout. There was a lot of stuff going on with Patty Hearst, but that was a big thing for her. The kidnapping and the use of her basically to... I'm sorry. Camel lips just danced across my screen to the left here, so it took me out of my head for a second.
Camel lips, oh my god. That whole scene.
Okay, I recognize the actress. I did not know her name was Patty.
Well, she's the heir to William Randolph Hearst.
I don't know who that is.
Never mind. Matt, never mind.
It wasn't that she got kidnapped by them. She was indoctrinated into the SLA.
Wow.
By her kidnappers. So basically, she was kidnapped, and then she was indoctrinated into the group.
Oh, like Stockholm Syndrome.
So basically, she went into the whole thing. Basically, she had been accused of bank robbery, all sorts of other stuff.
Is she the lady who wears white shoes?
Yes, she's the lady that wears white shoes. The one that ends up getting...
Okay.
I want to say spoiler alert, but we put one at the beginning of the podcast, so fuck it. She's the one that ends up dying at the end. That gets killed.
Yeah, she gets beaten with the phone.
Right. No white after Labor Day. Fashion has changed! Dum, dum. No, it hasn't.
No, it hasn't. And then she just walks right back out.
And then gives a threatening eye to Suzanne Summers.
Yeah.
It's like, watch yourself.
That whole courtroom scene was hysterical. When the one, like the peeping Tom guy is on the stand, and she leans forward and is opening and closing her legs.
Yeah. Oh, she starts slowly slouching further and further down in her chair, just flapping her legs.
Yeah. Like, what is happening?
Until he just
when her
breaks.
Kids are outside selling T-shirts.
Right, they're selling T-shirts. Her son has basically sold the rights to her story as a movie and got Susan Sarandon on board,
making deals.
Yeah,
managed to get her to the courtroom same day.
Yeah. And then the one victim's brother shows up and he's like, "No, man, who did you sell your rights to?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm thinking this." Like, he's come for revenge, but he's like, "No, come on, let's make some money." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
It's like, hell with revenge. I want the money, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we're both victims here. You don't need to take revenge on me, but I can help you out.
Yeah. I love the slow build up.
How altruistic.
I love the slow build up. How we go from she's a ideal mother, and the cops show up and they're like, "Oh, there's this lady who's been getting obscene phone calls," and she's like, "Oh my god, seriously?" And then immediately she goes upstairs and calls the lady.
That was hilarious.
To deliver an obscene phone call, or the "Do you recycle?" I don't have room in my kitchen.
Ladies and gentlemen, she doesn't even recycle.
Right.
She has no credibility. She doesn't recycle.
Yeah.
I mean, fair.
The trash guys are on her side.
Hell, the cops were on her side.
Yeah, everyone's on her side.
Everybody was on her side. She had way too much charm. Now, seeing as this is dancing across my screen, who do you think is more responsible for Scotty's death? Cereal Mom or Camel Lips?
Camel Lips, because they spray liquor on him when he's already on fire.
He was almost out. He was almost out before they just spit whatever liquor she had. Was it whiskey, I think?
I don't know.
Just all over him.
He lights back on fire on the stage while everybody's cheering.
Because that's punk rock,
Poor
apparently.
guy.
I guess.
Matt did not notice those pants until like the third time they popped up, and he was like, "Oh, do they have something in their pants?" I'm like, "Yes."
Just,
like
prosthetic
really
camel
graphic
lips.
Camel lips. Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot.
Just that
It
one
was-
close-up. It was a little, okay, hi.
Yeah.
I knew the group, too. I was like, okay, L7, I didn't picture them doing something like this, but okay, you go for it. Fine.
Every time this movie, like, you got a little bit complacent and it got a little boring, it would just hit you with, like, camel lips.
Right, something completely off the
Random
wall.
sex scene, yeah. Or when she stabs the one guy in the back and pulls the poker out and his liver is on the poker.
And she's like shaking it loose.
She can't get it off. And she's like, like shaking it. She has to like scrape it off with her shoe.
Well, there's evidence right there. The blood on the shoe.
Yeah.
They didn't find that. They really didn't search for anything, did they?
The recycling lady mentions it. She's like, no, I saw her. She had blood on the shoe. And she put the poker back covered in blood. So she like reaches down and touches the poker and it's covered in blood. So like, and that's the lady that she's like, but she doesn't recycle. And everyone's like, oh my God, never mind. Like,
Oh,
forget
yeah.
this
I mean,
lady.
the poker might have been covered in strawberry jam for all we know.
And that was, that lady has an odd name.
Well, that's Rosemary, Mary Jo Catlett?
No, that lady was Mink Stole.
Oh, Mink
Oh no, Mink
Stoll.
Stole's Dottie Hinkle.
Dottie Hinkle is Mink Stoll.
Yeah.
Yes. They actually had to pay somebody for that character. The courthouse scene, there was actually a court clerk in the courthouse scene that went by the name Dottie Hinkle. And so when they realized that... well, no, they didn't have to pay her. That's right. They realized that they had to get her to sign a waiver, and she happily signed away her rights. She was like, yeah, my name's in the
To her
movie. I'm
name.
good.
Yeah. What are the odds?
Take it.
Dottie Hinkle.
Dottie Hinkle, yeah. What are the odds that it is Dottie Hinkle is the one person who happens to work in that courthouse when you're doing that scene?
Yeah. That was... Because that's the one where she first starts showing who she is to people. Because she goes to that, like, group. She goes to their house. And she's like, wow, those are some really nice pussy willows. Because it's the willow flowers.
Yeah.
What did you say?
She's like, what did you say?
Willows. Crack. Smashes the Fabergé. They have an obsession with Fabergé eggs in this movie.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's probably supposed... It's all satirical.
For the listeners, I actually brought this up in our group chat, and I'm not sure if Matt did he get to read the group chat when I brought all this up?
I don't think I
No.
brought it now.
So based off of the pricing in
one
this
on eBay.
movie, so there's 3 different things in this movie that they try to sell within the film. We have in the early opening scene, we have the signed Greatest Hits Village People album, right? And then partway through the movie, they have the haggling over the Fabergé egg, which eventually goes to...
That was chipped, right?
It was chipped.
Yes, the chipped.
It eventually goes to Tracy Lords, who is basically the ex-boyfriend of... Tracy Lords, the new girlfriend of the ex-boyfriend of Ricky Lake.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is the $158 sale for the Pee Wee Herman doll.
Yes.
And so I decided to take it upon myself and go check out the actual price of these things. So this guy was asking $50 to $100 for this. Well, no, it wasn't 50. He wouldn't settle for anything but $100 for this Fabergé egg.
Yeah.
The exact Fabergé egg that he's talking about is worth $12 today. Yes.
Okay.
The record album that they were kind of talking back and forth about, she's like, do you think I could get 50 cents for the Village People? And Matthew Lillard retorts, you might even get $1. Today, if you have any copy of a Village People album from back then, and it's fully signed by the band, it's worth between $300 and $500.
Wow.
There is one out there for
Okay.
like $750, but it's like a rare Japanese import. So, and then of course the Pee Wee Herman doll is almost exactly the same price as in the movie. So you can find that exact one between $150 and $175.
Wow. Wow. I like when the mom gets it and the character that's standing there with her, it might be Scotty, is like, isn't he a weirdo about Pee Wee Herman?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Well, I think that was before the Pee Wee Herman scandal, wasn't it?
No, we're right about the same time.
Oh, okay.
No, I think that was the boyfriend that said that. The boyfriend was like, he's a weirdo, like, and he's kind of brushed it off and got in his car.
Yeah.
Because she was like, proud of herself. She's like, look what I've got to sell. Yeah. She was so happy about it. And he's like, he's a weirdo.
Yeah. Poor Pee Wee Herman.
Well, so you know.
Yeah.
He made up for it in Mystery Men.
Yeah. The spleen.
Oh, the spleen. Oh, my God.
Part of my finger.
He's got a couple of things that I like that he did. He did a few films. Like, he played a waiter in the original Blues Brothers film.
He's in Buffy.
He was in Buffy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he gets the iconic death scene where she stakes him and he's like, ooh.
The original, yeah. My brain went off into left field for a minute there, going, I watched that entire fucking television show. What do you mean he was in Buffy? I'm like, he was in Buffy, yeah. And I'm agreeing.
The movie.
Right, yeah. I'm agreeing blindly to what it's not. yeah, he was in Buffy, wasn't he? And I'm trying to remember.
Opposite Rutger Hauer.
What the fuck was he in Buffy? Yeah.
It's the master vampire, yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely liked him in the Buffy movie. And then he also had a prominent role in an old Johnny Depp flick, Blow.
Oh, okay.
So that's actually probably one of the better movies that he was in. So, of all the Pee Wee Herman roles, outside of, Pee Wee Herman, Pee Wee's Big Adventure and all that stuff, that was probably one of my favorite films with Paul Rubens in it. If you ever get a chance to watch it.
I know of that movie, but I don't think I've seen it. I'm not a big fan of Johnny Depp.
This is ultra pretentious Johnny Depp before he really started getting full of himself.
Crybaby Johnny Depp.
Yeah. I want to say not long after Edward Scissorhands Johnny Depp. In his Donnie Brasco phase, in and around there.
Yeah.
Back when he was still trying to make his name in Hollywood with different things.
You could understand what he was saying in any given movie.
And he didn't try to do the drunken Jack Sparrow and everything?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That seems to be the Keith Richards thing is what he leans into now for just his regular mode.
It's a lot.
I think it might just be a little bit him.
Yeah.
A little.
Yeah. He's even in an animated movie. Is it like Rango, where he's a lizard?
Rango, yes, right.
And I couldn't even understand the lizard, and I was like, done. I can't.
He was a chameleon or something,
Depp.
Right?
Yeah.
No, he's not a chameleon.
I just know he's in Rango. That's all I remember, and I couldn't understand him. And then he was in The Lone Ranger for some reason.
As Tonto, of all things.
As Tonto, yes. Couldn't understand him. And then he was in Tusk. He's like the investigator in Tusk.
Wait, Johnny Depp was the investigator?
Yeah. And he uses the same weird... mumble voice.
Yeah.
I believe he was also in Yoga Hosers. Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever that means.
You say so.
This is, I believe, this was a film. It was a joint collaboration between Johnny Depp and Kevin Smith, so that both of their kids could get lead roles in a film.
Okay.
Basically,
nepotism,
starring his daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter and Kevin Smith's daughter. So, is it worth watching? Let me just say it wasn't as bad as Garbage Pail Kids, but it's still pretty bad.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a low bar, so...
Even with that low bar, it still had trouble hopping over.
Okay.
Even with that low.
All
it's
right.
right down there.
That's a good context. I feel like Garbage Pail Kids as the, bottom line of watchability, in that you can sit through it without going mad, sort of. Is a good line.
That might be my measuring stick from now on. There's another podcast that rates everything on the scale from Robo Jocks to something else. But Robo Jocks was supposed to be their bottom of the barrel, this is garbage movie.
Yeah.
So anything that was bad was basically rated against Robo Jocks. Is it Robo Jocks
Garbage
bad?
Pail Kids.
And Garbage Pail Kids, I've seen RoboJocks, and I've seen Garbage Pail Kids, and I will say Garbage Pail Kids is worse.
Okay.
So, as far as I'm concerned anyway.
I am not arguing. I completely agree with you.
I think RoboJocks was just kind of cheesy, funny. It's still terrible. It's a terrible, terrible film, but it was still cheesy and funny. Like,
yeah.
What happens if an alcoholic gets a hold of your, Power Rangers budget kind of thing?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think we've discussed this before. There's sort of a sweet spot of bad movies where they're at least funny bad, and then if you fall below that, they're just unwatchable. So RoboJocks falls in that funny bad sweet spot.
I think that it's still funny bad, and then you have Garbage Pail Kids, which tumbles well past that bar down here somewhere. There were still some funny things in the movie, but it wasn't enough to make it anywhere near watchable.
No.
And that is all...
Right, it was mostly just awkward bad.
I think the best part of Serial Mom was all the 90s decor in her house.
I think the best part of Serial Mom was the accidental appearance of Jughead's hat in the film.
Oh, yeah, at the very beginning.
On his best friend. On Matthew Lillard's...
shows up wearing one.
I was just like, I know that hat. I've read plenty of comic books about that hat. There's a television show with that hat.
And I saw that and I was like, oh, like from
Archie and the Gang, yeah.
Yeah, Archie and the Gang.
He's
trying to remember the name of the town. Riverdale?
Riverdale. Actually, where I'm living.
Oh.
So the high school in Riverdale was based off of, I guess it's now Town Hall here, but the Town Hall is what was the basis for Riverdale High School here in Haverhill.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So that's they're basically a local legend. That's one of the few things we take pride on. We can't really take pride on Hannah Duston. So that's a touchy subject. I don't know if you know anything about Hannah Duston.
No.
The frontiers woman who avenged her family's death by going on a murderous rampage and scalping Indians.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she's got a statue in the middle of town, so I'm like, why isn't nobody complains about this? Okay, that's fine.
I mean, we live in the South, problematic statues. Say no more.
Yeah, our local town still has a sign up. It's like home of like somebody who won some talent show. Like
American Idol.
American Idol.
Some American Idol winner.
Like
we also have one about
15 years ago.
We also have a big plaque for the boys in the gray, as in the Civil War.
I mean, the only area
Confederate soldiers.
I lived in Georgia.
Oh, is that what that's for?
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
I lived in Georgia for the better part of 17 years, and we lived just outside of Athens, Georgia, which their claim to fame is groups like the B-52s, REM, stuff like that. So that's what we saw a lot of down there, not a lot of questionable statues.
Oh, well, that's good for you.
The only statue that I can remember off the top of my head is outside of the Classic Center, which is just a big statue of the goddess Athena.
Mm.
So, for Athens.
For Athens.
Yeah.
That's appropriate.
That works.
We do live by Mayberry. So we have a lot of statues of
Andy Griffith.
Andy Griffith.
No Jim Neighbors?
No. Andy Griffith and the little boy. And there's a guy who has
Opie,
who has a police car that plays the Leave It to Beaver song. And it's in every parade.
My twin brother and I one year played Opie. We got dressed up as Opie because we're freckly redheads.
Who went on to be a very famous director. Very, very famous.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, first times for everything, right? He was steeped in all sorts of film and television culture, so it's not really all that strange that he went on to be a big director. Not at all. There's some people that you're like, oh, that was your first gig? How the hell did you recover after that? Like, if you ever get a chance...
It reminds me of you want a 25-year-old with 20 years of experience?
Well, you're in luck.
Here you go.
Like Sean Gunn, there's no reason why Sean Gunn should be where he is right now. It is Sean Gunn and James Gunn. So Sean Gunn and James Gunn. So Sean was he went on to do like bit things in like he was in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies because his brother was like, I'm going to give him a role. Of course, he's my brother.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they kind of grew up doing films together. He is responsible for a very traumatic film that my friends hate me for making them watch. But not Sean Gunn, James Gunn, the director.
We're not going to get the title of the traumatic movie.
Oh yes, of course, Tromeo and Juliet. And Juliet.
Oh, yeah. You talked about that one.
Yes, this is a movie that you definitely don't want to surprise somebody with. You want to tell them what they're walking into. We're going to watch this film, which is about Romeo and Juliet, if Romeo and Juliet were somehow long lost brother and sister, but they didn't know it. And then when they found out about it, they didn't care and kept fucking anyway. So that's essentially what the film is about.
Yeah, that gives it context.
It's a lot funnier than it sounds, but if you don't warn somebody ahead of time, they might be a little pissed at what you made them watch.
Yeah. I thought Tusk was bad. It sounds pretty bad.
But this was also James Gunn directing and Sean Gunn being one of the lead actors in the film. So, you might recognize Sean Gunn. I don't know if you watched The Gilmore Girls.
No.
Okay.
I watched The Gilmore Girls.
Were there vampires and or witches and or sci-fi aliens in it? Then probably not.
Kirk from The Gilmore Girls.
I know plenty of people who love it. Okay, yeah, I know who he is.
I've watched the show. It's not a bad TV show, all in all.
Oh yeah,
honestly,
that guy.
I mean, it's fine. It's just not anything I would ever sit down and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch that now.
I'm not gonna watch it once a year like my wife does. You know, that's just.
Oh no.
We have many TVs in this house for a reason. You want to watch that? You go over there. We're good. I've got something to watch over here too.
I do the podcast with the other two ladies about books, more like romance style books. Anyway, they think that the choices that we pick for TV shows to cover are hysterical because we did Forever Night, which is like niche, and now we're gonna do Lex, which is like it's sort of like if niche had a niche, and then at the back of that there was a hallway that led to another niche. Like this is Lex.
Lex is amazing, and I love that show. So I've actually seen that. But I can sit down and listen to all of that and be fine and follow along. I don't have to.
Right.
I don't have to sit and go.
Few.
The brave.
Right. I had up until we moved up here. I had the box set.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a great show. You used to be able to find it in like Walmart for $20 for everything. So.
Yeah.
Which shows you how far they've fallen. Like this is like ultra censorship society in Walmart for the longest time, and they're like, let's put up this mildly pornographic TV show. Because there was all sorts of sexual innuendos in that show.
Oh yeah, and it's quite gory. I had not watched it in years, and I was like, let's just watch the first episode to like get in the zone. And so we're watching the first episode, and I forgot how much body horror is in that show.
Please tell me you also enjoy Red Dwarf.
Splitting skulls to get the brains out.
Wait.
I'm sorry, I was asking if you have also watched Red Dwarf.
Some of Red Dwarf.
Yeah, some.
And I have some of the books.
Okay. Some of, like, from the beginning, or just kind of bits and pieces?
Bits and pieces.
Okay. I mean, it's not like it really has a linear story. It's just sort of...
Yeah. It's British sci-fi, isn't it? Red Dwarf?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Which is some of my favorite sci-fi. British sci-fi.
Yeah, I like it, but I have to be in the mood for British sci-fi. Like, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy style, ridiculous comedy sci-fi.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you another comparison. The Americanized film, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or the BBC miniseries?
I mean, I think they're all good. He intentionally made them all different, so I think it would be unfair to judge them together. Because he intentionally did the radio program, and then he did the TV show different, and then he wrote the books different, and then the movie is all different. Like, it's all a commentary on how every time he adapts it, he just writes it anew.
Okay.
So...
Mind you, in my head, I'm going, I already judged it. Just you're like, you can't really judge. It's not fair.
Was like, oh, haha, you're gonna make my radio program into a TV show? Here you go. Oh, and then you just to piss off the people that are like, this is nothing like the radio program. And then when he wrote the books, he made them nothing like anything else, just to piss off the people that are like, this is nothing like the radio program or the TV show. And then the movie, of course, is completely different again. I mean, they all have the same setup, but then from there, it always diverges.
I think I preferred the BBC miniseries, personally. I really couldn't get into... what is his name? Not Sam Rockwell, the other guy.
The guy who plays
Mos
Bilbo
Def?
Baggins.
No.
Oh, no. Yeah, Mos Def. Isn't he...
I'm trying to remember what character he plays. It was not Zaphod.
Ford Galaxy. Isn't he Ford Galaxy?
I think so. There's a few things that I've watched him and that I've liked. I really did not enjoy that movie for him at all. Sorry, Mos Def, fantastic rap artist, just not the guy that I wanted to see in that film at all.
Right.
I was hoping for something a little bit more lengthy, a little bit more epic, and they kind of short-sheeted the movie. Like, it could have gone like a Lord of the Rings, like, 3-hour kind of film.
Yeah.
There's a lot of content there.
We could have gone all the way
until
is it Arthur Dent? Yeah, he figures out that his power, his talent is sandwich making. Did you ever read the books?
Yes. I have the book over there.
He ends up on that one planet where there's the perfectly normal beasts that appear at one end of the plateau, and they run across the plateau and disappear at the other end, but it's okay because it's perfectly normal. And he's the sandwich maker.
Yep.
And that's what he does.
Yeah, and he's like almost a religious figure.
He's renowned for the sandwich maker, being the sandwich maker. Those books are good.
Yeah, and I liked the books. I think better than any of the film adaptations.
I need to go read that again.
Or that one character that no matter what it comes back as, Arthur Dent kills it. It's the bowl of petunias at the beginning. The one that, oh no, not again. It's because every time it comes to life, Arthur Dent kills it. And it ends up creating like this statue of Arthur Dent. And it's like sworn to kill it because...
And it's like calling to his soul. And so Arthur Dent feels drawn to this planet.
I feel like I'm going to end up reading it, and then I have not heard there was a BBC radio series. I don't think I've heard that.
Yes, I think it started as a radio series. I'm almost positive that was first.
I wonder if they have it anywhere like in an audiobook form.
Probably. I'm sure you can find it somewhere.
It's probably on the Internet Archive.
I'm going to go search Audible later. Maybe they'll have it hidden there somewhere. They have a couple of like radio shows that they have on there. Not a lot.
So Serial Mom.
Serial Mom. Wow.
Speaking of segues.
That wasn't a segue. That was just put on the brakes, slam it in reverse.
Drop kick.
Drop kick.
It's like drop kicked you from one cell back into the regular comic. We were in Elseworlds for a minute.
Yeah, we were in what was that awful Hulk movie that Ang Lee did, where all the transitions were like a zoom out and you saw the comic book page and then it zoomed into another comic book cell.
Oh, is that the one with like Edward
Eric
Norton?
Bana?
Yeah.
No, is it Eric Bana? Was it the second one with Eric Bana?
Eric Bana was the first one. And then when they were like, okay, this is like the proto Marvel Cinematic Universe, it was Edward Norton.
Yeah, it came back
and then
Edward
they couldn't
Norton.
get Edward Norton to come back for the other
right,
movies.
But the first one,
so
the Ang Lee one, is Eric Bana. And the transitions, I remember watching it and thinking that's kind of cool. And then I watched it again, and they are so ridiculous because they literally zoom out and it's them in a comic. And then it zooms back into another scene, and they have like speech bubbles, and that's what they start with saying. Like, those are the transitions. That's what Matt did.
It was a choice.
That's what Matt did. We popped back into a picture of Matt, and it said, so, Serial Mom on it.
Back in the podcast where they were actually discussing Serial Mom.
Yeah. I mean, I think this movie was good. I think it was straightforward. There's actually not a lot that happens. I mean, she murders a lot of people, but it's very linear and straightforward, and it's not twisty. And the only weird part is it's just slightly left of center. It's not obvious satire until you get to the courtroom scene.
It doesn't leave you saying like, or I want to say it doesn't leave you wondering about much, thinking about much. It just sort of leads you from what the fuck moment to what the fuck moment.
Right. You know immediately she's the bad guy because we do the phone call immediately. And then her kids and her husband figure it out pretty quickly, because there's the scene where she's going off to murder somebody, and she's written out like I'll come back later on the refrigerator, like on the chalkboard. She's like ran to the store, and they're like, "Oh my god, she's gonna kill somebody."
Escalation that even once she starts killing people, you aren't thinking, "Oh, maybe this is some kind of like delusional episode or like a daydream or whatever that she's having," and she's imagining the violent scenes. We've so smoothly escalated from like the phone abuse up to
running over
violence.
the teacher.
Yeah.
Running over the teacher, killing the boyfriend. And she just gets more and more blatant as time goes on.
It was running over the teacher, killing the boyfriend. Now I'm trying to remember all the deaths in a row. I believe, wasn't it killing that other woman with the lamb leg? She's going to kill her with a knife, and then she's just like, yeah, hell with or scissors or something.
There's somebody before that. There's the person in the house where the husband is downstairs eating.
Oh, yeah.
And she kills her upstairs.
Her husband's client.
Yeah, her husband's client that made him come out. Made him come out on a weekend when she was supposed to go bird watching. And she sees them eating the chicken, and then she like cuts to that picture, like herself watching birds through the.
I love the little
binoculars.
Experiential vignettes into what her mental state is.
Yeah.
When she like crosses that threshold to the decision of this person or these people need to die because of what they're doing.
Yeah. Because they're eating chicken, like really graphically.
And I love birds. They're eating birds. They must die.
They must die.
These are the people that
kills the guy, the lamb lady. No, she doesn't kill the lamb lady until after church.
After she's on the run, yeah.
Yeah.
The two people, the
leaves
couple,
the video store,
were the people that she killed when they all thought that she was going to go kill Scotty.
Yeah.
Originally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
because we get the cool, like everybody's running to different places, and the police are chasing her, and she leaves them, and she just like pushes the tape in, and she's singing and like fleeing from the police while she's singing to her song.
The only thing that she needs to do to evade the police is literally just hit a curb at like 50 miles an hour, and
right.
That's all.
She shorts that corner by going through somebody's yard.
Right. Which is why they put like 50 police officers on her later when she's going to church.
Right.
The slow chase, which a lot of people watch the film and are like, oh, okay, they must have gotten this from the O.J. Simpson trial thing. And no, had nothing to do with O.J. Simpson. This actually came out like a year before that even happened.
Wow.
So if anything, O.J. was just like, let's see if I can emulate this. We'll see if we can get them to follow me.
Yeah, see if I can pull a serial mom.
I really like Kathleen Turner. I'd like to think that's why he was doing it. I didn't murder anybody.
Yeah. He got away with
inspired.
I feel like his courtroom drama was just as ridiculous.
Just a little bit.
If
the glove don't fit, you must acquit.
My God.
Like, do you think he's going to cram his entire hand into that glove, even if it didn't?
Right.
I can't get this on. You're a terrible actor, OG. You were a terrible actor.
You were.
Yeah.
If anything, it got him to never be in movies again. So that's good.
Hey, the only thing that he was ever good at in movies, as far as I'm concerned anyway, was just being the guy that constantly took pratfalls in the Naked Gun movie.
Yeah.
Oh, and Brian's song. Brian's song. Was he in Brian's song? No. There was a football-related movie that he was in. I think Brian's song was Billy D. Williams, if I'm not mistaken.
I avoid sports movies almost as much as I avoid non-fantasy sci-fi or horror movies.
Not just sports movies, but a very dramatic sports movie.
Yeah.
Very
that's going to be a hard pass.
Yeah.
I don't do sports. Maybe the Mighty Ducks.
Like melodramatic. Like, everybody thought it was a real tearjerker way back when. We ended up watching it in school. It was a thing. It was a real thing. Not a good thing. Anyway, back to Serial Mom. We don't need to talk.
We're trying so hard. I think it's because it was just a good movie. There's not a lot to complain about. I don't think there was really like a weak moment. It all kind of moves. It builds up really beautifully. Every time it starts to lag, we get hit with something weird and random that just pulls you right back in.
Yeah, I struggled really hard to think of anything that I would not like in this film.
No, it's real. It's not like one of those movies that It's one of those movies you're like, wow, have you seen this? Let's sit down and watch it together. I don't know that I would ever sit and watch Serial Mom just by myself, but I feel like I would share this with other people. I'd be like, wow, have you seen this movie? It's so weird. Like, if you like true crime, you should watch it. It's pretty funny.
There is one scene, the tape that they find with Ted Bundy that's under a bed. The actual voice on the
director?
tape. Yeah, it is. It's actually John Waters.
Yeah.
So that's his voice on the tape. And they actually included it. I wanted to say that it was an actual birthday card given to a friend of John Waters from John Wayne Gacy.
Oh, wow.
So it was an actual John Wayne Gacy birthday card. It's like, what do you do when a convicted serial murderer sends you cards or anything? How does that get out of the jail?
Oh, they
do, yeah.
I mean,
as long as they don't say anything.
Are they allowed
to have like pen pals and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. To keep them sane?
Yeah, John Wayne Gacy,
it's encouraged
he did
just to
art.
have human contact.
Didn't John Wayne Gacy do a bunch of art? Isn't he the one that drew a bunch of clowns?
Yes.
Oh, well,
and he
that's
would sell
appropriate.
his art.
That sounds right.
And he would sell his artwork.
And this is why people hate clowns.
Yeah, but I don't think... there's weird stuff about, like, if they sell things, they can't profit in certain situations.
They can't profit on things related to their crime, like fame.
Yeah, but it was all him as Pogo. Like, his clown.
Well,
alter
isn't
ego.
that related to his crimes?
Yeah, you would think so. I don't know. I can't decide if I would like this movie better if they had buried the lead.
Well, that's no.
I don't know if I would like this movie better if they had, like, obscured the fact that she's the bad guy for longer. Or if I like that we're immediately presented with it and then we're just on this wild ride of watching everyone figure it out.
Yeah, and then she's just masking it less and less.
Yeah.
It becomes more blatant. I really think that it would have been fun to actually see a sequel to this film.
Yeah.
Like, see if they could have taken it just a little bit further.
Even a fake trailer where... Is it Suzanne Summers who's going to play her in the movie?
Oh, yeah.
Even a fake trailer where
like
Suzanne Summers is playing her.
Trailer of the...
of Serial Mom?
The biopic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why am I picturing, like, Kathleen Turner sitting at home watching the trailer to the movie that's going to be about her life, and as she's watching it, cool, she's getting slowly... She was happy, and then just getting slowly more. You can see the gleam in her eye go from happy to maniacal happy, and then she's just sharpening a knife and getting ready to go.
Mm-hmm. A leg of lamb, in fact.
It turns out they took a lot of liberties.
Yeah, that was probably the grossest part in the movie was when the dog was licking that lady's feet. She's like, "You want to lick my feet?" And the dog and I guess they spread butter on her feet to get the dog to lick her feet. But I was like, "Oh god, that was a lot."
They got real ASMR with that noise too. Like
the slurping.
Slurping.
Oh my god.
Oh, the ASMR before ASMR was a thing.
Yeah, it was awful. It was.
And I like that the MSPCA was so insistent that, no, you're not allowed to kill a fly in this movie. So they had to create a fly to get squashed.
Yeah.
In a movie that's just hyper violent. In general.
We didn't even hurt a fly.
Except the liver scene. Oh my god, the liver scene cracked me up. Where she has the liver on the poker.
Yeah.
Ugh, because it's so sloshy, and she's like, and you can hear it's like slurping as she talk about ASMR, as she's like wiggling the poker back and forth.
Yeah, they went on a lot of the.
They punched up the audio cues for a lot of different things.
Yeah, the Foley artists had a lot of fun. They were like, what would a liver sound like if it was sloshing around?
I want to be that guy.
No hole.
I want to be that guy who's in a room and he's like, okay, here's the movie. What we need you to do is there's several different things we want you to make the sounds for these here, and I would just love to have been the guy who's just in a room full of meat. Just no, this doesn't sound quite right. This doesn't sound quite. Just got to experiment with the sound of like different types of meat, trying to figure out which one sounds like a liver.
Wiggling them in front of a microphone, listening. Nope, that's not it.
Focus group tests.
Yeah.
No flies died in the making of this film, but we certainly bought a lot of beef. A lot of beef. And some of the byproducts. We were able to make hot dogs afterwards. So, on a scale from 1 to 11, what would you rate this film?
I'm going 8. I like this movie.
Yeah, I think 7.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh, this is actually... I mean, we went Hudson Hawk, which is good. And then we did Garbage Pail Kids, which was -5. And then we came back to this, and it was like, this is refreshing and linear and interesting. And, like, I would recommend this movie to other people to watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of nostalgia here for millennials.
Yeah.
Garbage Pail Kids does have the honor of being, like, an all-out bomb in our own ratings. Like, everybody that talked about it was just like, nope.
Nope. Yeah.
All
hard pass on the Nightmare Children.
Like, there's a reason why I won't buy the Blu-ray. There's a free copy out there somewhere. Just watch that if you really want to torture yourselves.
Do not support this.
It
Don't
will not
let
be
anybody think this was
by a higher quality.
Oh my god.
Video.
Can you imagine seeing those faces in high definition?
Oh.
I would go like an 8.5 for this film, personally.
Yeah.
And mind you, I think like a lot of the ratings of different things in my head have gone up after watching Garbage Pail Kids. It's like I have that in the back of my head now. It's like
you have contrast, perspective.
Yes.
It's like the sheer torture of that film, and having watched it at least 3 times to do that podcast. Yeah. Once was enough.
You don't need to punish yourself that way again.
I do that with every film, though. Every film that I watch, like when I first decide on something that we're watching, I'll watch it once, and then the day of, it'll probably get I'll come home and I'll pop it on. It'll be like a casual watch where I'm bopping around doing things, and then I'll put it on again while the podcast is going. So, 3 separate times.
Yeah. I'm impressed you can have it on while you're recording. Matt would just watch the movie.
I don't watch the movie, but I like have it muted over here, and like something will pop up, and I will have forgotten to mention. It's like, oh yeah, that right there, like L7 spitting fire on this guy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The L7, their actual poster is on the back of Scotty's door, so the actual poster for the band is on his door while they're also playing a fictitious band within the film
called Camel Lips. Okay.
Which I hadn't heard of Camel Lips until this movie. I've heard of Camel Toe.
Well, I think it's a play because it's actually like all the way up to their waistline.
Right.
Yeah.
These like flesh-colored pants that they had to wear.
Yeah, which means that the only place we see the real band information is during the masturbation scene because that's the only time we're in Scotty's room.
Yeah.
I can't call that appropriate.
It's such a random scene. Oh my god.
I just like that everybody just bursts into his room all at the same time thinking the mother's killing him. And the noise that he's making is the mother killing him. Just, again.
The wailing, the thrashing on the bed.
Yeah.
Another scene that could have used a little less ASMR.
Yeah,
they tried to give the full, like, sensory immersion in so many scenes.
Well, they had meat left over from the liver scene.
Ugh, gross.
Just a little bit. All right. Well, thank you both for joining me for this film. I tremendously appreciate it. This is like a redemption thing. I had to give you something good.
Yeah, it felt like it. Thank you.
I had to give you something good to watch because Garbage Pail Kids was just like it was a dry heave of a movie. So
it was yes. It might have been actual vomit, but yes.
So go ahead and tell our listeners about your various projects and where they can find you.
All right. Well, as mentioned, we're Matt and Rachel of the Strange and Beautiful Book Club, which is our movie and book podcast. But we also have an upcoming podcast about Lex, the television show, where we're going to be watching every single episode and talking about it. We did that for all of Forever Night already. So if you're anxious to hear us do something else and you want an already finished podcast, Forever Night is finished.
We also have a Dune deep dive.
Yes, we have a Dune deep dive where we covered all of the first 3 books and every single screen adaptation of Dune currently available. And that's just finished and available to listen to. And we also have a book podcast called Feast, Sheath, and Shatter where Rachel, and not Matt, talks about romantasy books that include a lot of spicy scenes. So if you want to hear me talk more about sex scenes, that's a good place to go too.
And
And
not
that about covers
sex
it.
scenes like in this film at all.
No. Not this, whatever that, where she like puts a heart around Charles Manson in her book because she's reading the.
That was her
It
foreplay.
Yeah, it says birds on the cover, but when we see what it actually is, it's a picture of Charles Manson, who's not a serial killer, by the way. That's fine. It's fine.
It's a technicality.
No. Yeah, I mean, there were
It's about
many
the vibes,
deaths
not the actions.
that he was responsible for, but not necessarily the one that killed anyone. He was just the cult of
Right. He
personality.
was a cult leader. Yeah.
Yeah. That was her bit of foreplay, just kind of, tracing the
Yeah.
love lines, and then she was like, all right, now I'm hot, let's put this away. I'm guessing in his mind, he thinks birds got her off or something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
We won't go there anymore. We don't want to forget the next scene though. Not the next scene, but Dottie Hinkle. Before we go, Dottie Hinkle watching Joan Rivers doing a TV show about women who love murderers.
Yeah.
Murderers and the
I
women who
know.
love them.
Yeah. I was like, oh, Joan.
Yeah, I think that was an actual excerpt from her
Oh,
show.
I'm sure.
I don't think
I
she
feel like
made that up.
was the era of talk shows.
Oh,
I
yeah,
feel like that was a
absolutely.
popular topic. Yeah.
Which is
anything sensational.
why Ricky Lake ended up doing talk shows shortly thereafter, because like everybody was doing
Yeah.
one back then.
Oh my God, everybody had one.
And for our
There were
pod,
so many.
yeah, way too many. My mother watched talk shows all day long. It was just back and forth between talk shows and various soap operas. I've watched entirely too many soap operas. I should not know who the fuck Luke and Laura are, but I do. I do, and I know some of their epic adventures. It was just terrible, and it's stuck in the back of my mind. And that is the first place that I saw Rick Springfield in soap operas.
Oh, interesting.
Not as a musician, in soap operas. That's where the first time I saw Rick
Okay.
Springfield.
Or as the vampire in the pilot episode of Forever Night.
Well, that's not the first time I saw him. I mean, was that
Yeah.
for you? The first time you saw him?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, in Nick Knight, the American pilot movie.
Okay. Yeah, you showed me that. I think you sent a link for that, right?
I think so. I think I sent the German cover, because the German cover looks like it's from like 30 Days of Night.
Right, yes, I
It's
saw
like
the cover.
a bloody vampire, but it's really just Rick Springfield being sad for like an hour and a half. So if you bought it for that cover, you would be so disappointed.
I'm
False
curious about
advertising.
an hour and a half worth of Rick Springfield being sad. Is it bad sad or just...
No, I mean, he's a vampire, and he's wrestling with his morality.
His inner beast.
While
so-
being Rick Springfield. So,
listeners, you know where to find our podcast because you're currently listening to it. And if not, then if you got all the way to the end of this podcast and have no idea how you got here, I can't fucking help you. And as Miss B would love to be saying right now, and she did last week, drink some water, you thirsty bitches. And now, for a few ads from friends of the podcast.
This is Two Chicks Talking Flicks, where we review movies. We try to dig deeper and go more in depth.
And profound for me.
Yeah, for me, I'm just like, what? We even bring up relevant topics.
I remember from Punky Brewster that you don't go inside the fridge.
And we're here to have those tough conversations.
And she was wearing a white dress, which
was yellow.
Huh?
It was yellow. So if this sounds like the podcast for you, please enjoy. New episodes every Tuesday.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
We are the hosts of the Strange and Beautiful Book Club. On the Strange and Beautiful Book Club, Matt and I share our adventures discovering forgotten movies, television shows, and books in the science fiction, horror, and fantasy genre.
Not necessarily good movies, though.
Oh, certainly not. We love a good, bad movie. The quirkier, the funnier, the more campy, the better.
But we talk about some classics, too.
Of course, we can't ignore our favorites like Highlander or the 1990s vampire cop television show, Forever Night, which we are currently covering one episode at a time.
As if I could forget.
Oh, hush. You love every minute of it.
Come join us every week as we discover, discuss, and dissect fantasy, horror, and sci-fi genre classics. New episodes release every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
So remember, sometimes the strangest things are the most beautiful too.
So be who you are and love what you love. Until next time, friends.
Bye.